Video is going to take you through creating the work in a style of Crispin Jones. So take a moment, go to Google, type in his name, go to images, you'll see a lot of his work up. We're going to do a project now that very much is influenced by his newspaper print work, where you can see a thick, sharp black line with a lot of bold color, and then underneath that newspaper print. He is doing these with a combination of what looks like painting and collage work. We're going to do all of ours in Illustrator. To give you an example a little bit more, here's a picture of him, Conrad Crispin Jones, with his work. You can see how large the paintings are there. Again, we're going to do all of ours in Illustrator. Here's another really nice example of the kind of work that we're talking about. So, how to really begin this kind of work and make it look as much as possible like his work. We're going to start by going to Illustrator. Once we go to Illustrator, we're going to go to File and New. Once we go to File and New, make sure we have a portrait size, tabloid size at a portrait orientation. Click OK. At that point, your best bet is to go online and find an image that you want to use. I'm going to use this one of Tribe Called Quest here. Drag it from here into your folder, and then go back into Illustrator, go to File, go to Place, find that image. There it is, and place it in. Remember to click. I'm going to drop it right there, kind of center it. From there, I'm going to dim down the opacity. Click on it, make sure you dim down the opacity up top. Just bring it down a little bit. I'm going to bring it down to about an 80, 85 or so, and then I'm going to lock that layer in the Layers panel. After I've done that, I'm going to create a brand new layer right on top. This is where you're going to start drawing. You can use the pen tool, of course, which is the one that I prefer to use with no fill and a black stroke. However, on this project, you can also use the pencil tool. So if you go to the pencil tool, matter of fact, I'm going to tear that out so I can see them all. Go to the pencil tool here. Go, make sure that it's still a black stroke, no fill. A 1-point stroke is fine. I'm going to zoom in on this and begin to show you how I would draw. Now, just remember, if you look at his work, you can see that thick black line. And in a lot of cases here in the eyelash and the eyebrow, it's completely solid. Some of the hair pieces, you know, they go kind of thick to thin, and then there's a thin line around areas like the nose and the mouth. So we're going to do something very similar. We begin to draw. You can draw it as one large shape, and then to connect it back, just hold Option to make sure that it closes. You'll see a little circle. Let go, and there's that shape. Now, very much like his work, I want to be sure that things are filled in with the dark black before we add color. So an area like this, I'm going to go over to the bottom of my toolbar, click on the swap button so it swaps it, and now it is black. You can do that for a lot of areas. So for example, here, I could create a line for that little area, hold Option to close it, and then I could, of course, fill it with black, just like that. If you find that you have not quite enough, right, or too much, you could always take the eraser tool. You could erase from this, I'm sure that you know from our other projects. You can erase and get in there like that, right? You can smooth it out with this. There's a smooth tool here where I can kind of click and drag, and it'll help to smooth out the lines that I've created already. So you're going to continue to do that for as much detail as you can. But just remember, there's no problem with just kind of doing this sort of thing around the nose, like this. And then hold Option so you could close it. And then give it a fill color. And you see how it's starting to look. If I take away the picture in the background, you see what I've got so far. All right. You're going to continue to do that for the entire face and a little bit of the body. You'll notice that his work has the body, a little bit of the neck, in some cases more of a fuller body. This one has a little bit of a hand. This one has a lot of the extra body, you can kind of see. So we're going to work through the same sort of principles, do the same thing. I have a file here that I've gotten a little bit ahead on, so I'm going to open that one up now, which is here. So you can see on mine, a little bit further ahead, I have now finished the black line. This piece underneath, I can just hide that one for now in the Layers panel so you can see what I'm looking at, right? So all the faces have now been drawn with that thick black line style, the same exact way that I just showed you. All right, now what do you do from here? Well, we need to begin to add color. So what we're going to do is we're going to click to open up layer 1. On yours, I had split them into these 3 groups just so you can kind of see your file, this file. Just don't want to confuse you here. Yours will look more like this. You have layer 2 at the bottom, or a background layer, or layer 1, which is the background piece. Then on top, you're going to have your black lines. You can even double click and pull that, outlines is fine. And then you're going to make one more new layer, pull that underneath and in between, and you're going to call that color. And on that one, you are now going to use that same tool. You can use the pencil tool again, it's totally fine, or the pen tool. This time you're going to begin to draw where the colors will be. So for example here, I can do kind of a shine where this shine is going to be. Hold Option, close it, and then color it. So if I wanted to make that, let's just say this color for now. You can change it to any color that you want. That's totally up to you. You can sort of match the brightness of any piece that you'd like. You can put it kind of wherever you'd like. If you see the work here, there's a lot of empty area, but there's also some area that is intensely filled with color. So you want to try to do the same sort of thing. So follow the kind of ones that you like, that you see, that you think will work. I'm going to throw in, a couple like this. And I'm going to fill that with a color that I think works for that particular spot. So you can see how I'm kind of doing that there. Now, you'll notice that in his work, there are some spots that are solid like this. Solid. And then there's some that get kind of this fuzzy feel where you can sort of see through them. So in order for us to do that with these pieces that we've drawn on the color layer, you can click on them, go up to Effects at the top, down to Blur, and over to Gaussian Blur. Once you've done that, you can hit the little preview button to see what it'll look like, and then you can decide how much blur you're going to give it. Now, you'll notice that that kind of blurred that one out, right? So if I drew another one, just giving you a little example here. Okay, and if you draw that piece, and now let's fill that piece with a little lighter of a color. And then you can always throw that piece underneath, Arrange Center Back, right click, Arrange Center Back. And now that one could be either kept solid or blurred. And so you see you have 2 different versions here. You have kind of the blurred version versus the solid line version, both in different colors, both on the color layer. So you continue like that until you've got enough color where you feel things are looking good. Look at some of his work, get some ideas. You can tell here where, in a lot of cases, the lips are completely filled in, like this, or the eyes are completely filled in, or parts of the hair. So maybe on this particular area, I'm going to go on here and fill, this piece. So I can create a line like this on the color layer. Create the line that I want. So this is one way. There are many different ways to color this in. I could just try to keep it simple here. Hold Option, close up that shape. Decide what color you want to make it. I'm going to make it red. Right? So you can continue to kind of color like that until you are through. Once you are done with all of the color, you will hide the original one on the bottom. And then we need to put one more new layer underneath all of this. So I'm going to make a new layer, pull it to the bottom, double click, call it Newspaper. And then your job is to go online and find some newspapers that relate to your portrait. So Tribe Called Quest was a hip-hop group, so try to find some articles, maybe about them, maybe just about some other hip-hop related things that you can find online, or rap things, whatever you can find. So when you find one, all you must do is click on it, click View Image, take it, drag it, and drop it right into Illustrator. And once it's in there, as long as you are on the newspaper layer, it's going to go to the newspaper layer. And then from there, take the black arrow, hold Shift, resize it, move it around a bit. You could rotate it, of course, and drop it underneath. If you find that it looks too bright, you can click on it, bring down the opacity, of course, so it's a little bit less bright, right? Maybe to an 80. And you're going to find multiple ones of these, not just one. You need a few to make this thing really work. Drop it onto the same layer. We're going to resize it with the black arrow. Drop it here like this, get the words in there, rotate this one this way. And you're basically making a collage that's going to show up behind the face. If you want all these to be black and white, though, click on them, go to Effects. Where is it in here? Stylize. Which one do I want? Which one do I want? I think we could do Sketch, and photocopy will probably be fine. It does this kind of work to it. Let's see if there's another one that works a little bit better. Stamp, photocopy, graphic pen. No, charcoal, photocopy. You can try that kind of thing. Just to kind of make it black and white. Another option is if you click on this, you could go to Image Trace and then just do like a default shades of gray. That kind of thing. All right, it kind of kills the words a little bit, but we'll find an option that works. If none of those work, we might just have to bring this into Photoshop real quick. And if you bring the image into Photoshop, just as a last resort for doing the background, you bring this into Photoshop. When Photoshop opens, just go to Image Adjustments. You can do Desaturate to take out the color, or a black and white filter would work fine also. It takes out all the color, and then you could just resave this, and then we could bring this back in and then use it, in the background, rotate it, same thing, and now it's black and white, so it'll show up a little bit easier behind the face. And that's really the project. Obviously, the more detail you give it, the better it's going to look.